99% of all species on Earth are dead. Saber-toothed tigers, woolly mammoths, giant ground sloths, all gone. But the crocodile? It's still here. It survived the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs, powered through 5 mass extinctions, and tanked the entire Ice Age. And today it's just out there chilling by the river, catching some sun. Even crazier, scientists actually dropped crocodile blood into human blood infected with HIV, and the HIV was completely wiped out. This thing's immune system is so ridiculously overpowered that humanity's worst viruses are basically child's play to it. It can go half a year without eating and still be perfectly fine. In a single meal, it can swallow half its own body weight. That's like a grown man eating 14 whole chickens in one sitting. And when the river freezes over, it just sticks its snout out of the ice, lets its entire body freeze solid in the water, and waits for spring. When the ice melts, it swims off like nothing even happened. It's been around since the time of the T-Rex, and absolutely nothing has been able to kill it. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly why. First, let's talk about a totally counterintuitive fact. Scientifically speaking, we are technically still living in an ice age. Yep, you heard that right. As long as there are permanent ice caps at the poles, the Ice Age isn't officially over. This current cycle has been going on for about 34 million years. During this time, the Earth hit several extreme cold snaps, with the absolute worst being the last glacial maximum about 30,000 years ago. Global temperatures dropped by more than 11 degrees Fahrenheit. Doesn't sound like a big deal? Well, that drop covered 25% of the Earth's land and ice. In some places, the ice was over 2.5 miles thick. That's 5 of the world's tallest buildings stacked on top of each other. Sea levels plummeted, completely rewriting the global map. In this hellish environment, countless species were just eliminated, especially reptiles. Why? Because they're cold-blooded. They can't generate their own body heat like mammals do. When it gets cold, it's game over for them. So when the big freeze hit, giant reptiles were almost completely wiped out. Giant snakes, giant monitor lizards, massive marine reptiles, all dead. But the crocodiles somehow survived, and not just barely holding on, it thrived. Today, out of the 10 heaviest reptile species on Earth, crocodilians hold 8 spots. The largest saltwater crocodiles can weigh over 4,400 pounds. So why do all other cold-blooded animals fear the cold, but the croc didn't die? The answer is simple. This thing barely functions like a normal Earth creature. Its first major advantage is that it lives in the water. You might not think that's a big deal, but water is one of the hardest substances on Earth to heat up or cool down. A cold front might drop land temperatures by dozens of degrees overnight, but water temperature changes much slower. Crocodiles spend most of their lives submerged, which is basically like living inside a giant natural thermostat. While land animals were freezing to death, crocs were just relaxing in the pool. Plus, their hearts have a special bypass system that mammals don't have. When they dive, this system redirects oxygen from the lungs to the most vital organs. Their metabolic rate instantly drops to near zero. The whole animal essentially goes into low power mode, meaning it can stay underwater for an incredibly long time without ever needing to surface. The second major advantage is that it barely needs to eat. And this is where it gets terrifying. A massive saltwater croc weighs over 4,400 pounds. How many meals do you think it needs in a year? The answer is about 50. That's less than 1 meal a week. Research shows that some alligators can survive for over 2 years without a single bite of food, only losing about half their body weight. Freshwater crocs can easily go 18 months, and salties can brush off a whole year of starvation. For a mammal, this is basically science fiction. A normal adult human eats nearly 2,000 pounds of food a year, yet weighs just a fraction of a croc. A crocodile, it only needs about 220 pounds of food a year. The rest of the time, it just sits there unbothered like a rock. Oh, and it has a built-in survival hack. It stores massive amounts of fat in its tail. When the food runs out, it just burns its tail fat. It's essentially a walking pantry. And when it finally catches something, it can swallow half its body weight in one bite. Starving for 6 months, eating once, and being good for another 6 in the Ice Age, this was basically using cheat codes. The third advantage is its zero-energy hunting style. Imagine you're an Ice Age caveman. To eat, you have to throw on some animal skins, brave sub-zero blizzards, track prey for hours, fight it to the death, and then drag it all the way home. It's a massive energy drain. But the crocodile, it just lays by the water and waits. Wildebeest, zebras, buffalo, every animal eventually needs to drink. The exact second the prey lowers its head, the croc explodes out of the water, clamps down, and initiates the death roll. Using its tail, it spins its entire body at high speed, literally tearing the prey limb from limb. The whole hunt might only take a few seconds. The energy spent is almost zero. While other predators were fighting for their lives just to find food, the croc was just chilling by the river waiting for the Uber Eats of the wild to arrive. The fourth advantage is that it doesn't really age. Scientists discovered something super creepy. Crocodiles exhibit negligible senescence. Biologically speaking, a 60-year-old croc and a 20-year-old croc have almost no difference in strength, speed, or immunity. They don't get frail and sickly like humans do. They only die from external factors like injuries, disease, or habitat loss. The body itself doesn't just naturally degrade. Cassius, a saltwater croc in Australia, is over 120 years old and still going strong. Henry, a Nile croc in South Africa, is also over 120. These aren't lucky outliers, it's just the norm for the species. The fifth, and arguably the scariest advantage, is the immune system. Like I mentioned earlier, croc blood can kill HIV. This isn't some wild exaggeration. Scientist Mark Merchant at Louisiana State University actually ran an experiment where he introduced American alligator serum into human blood infected with the HIV-1 virus. The alligator serum destroyed the virus with an efficiency that completely blows the human immune system out of the water. Not only that, but it also destroys West Nile virus, herpes simplex, and even superbugs like MRSA. How do they do it? Their blood is absolutely packed with antimicrobial peptides and a brutally powerful complement protein system. Its function is simple and violent. When it finds a pathogen, whether it's a bacteria, virus, or fungus, it physically tears its cell membrane apart and destroys it on the spot. Think about where they live. They sit in bacteria-infested mud all year and constantly rip each other to shreds in territorial fights. Any mammal would die of a massive infection in days. But croc wounds rarely get infected, and they heal insanely fast. Some studies even show they can partially regenerate their tails. During the Ice Age, plummeting temperatures destroyed the immune systems of most animals. Many species didn't freeze to death. They died of disease. But the crocodile's immune system stayed completely bulletproof in the freezing cold. The final advantage is the deep freeze. This is the craziest survival skill of them all. When the water freezes over, the American alligator does the unthinkable. It sticks its snout out of the ice and lets its entire body get frozen solid in the lake. It doesn't move. It doesn't eat or drink. It enters a state of brumation. Its metabolism drops to rock bottom, and its heart rate almost stops completely. It basically becomes a frozen fossil. But as soon as the temperatures rise and the ice thaws, it wakes right up and goes back to hunting and breeding like absolutely nothing happened. Think about it. This is a creature that doesn't need to eat, doesn't fear the cold, doesn't get sick, can freeze itself solid and come back to life, has an immune system leagues above ours, and basically never ages. From the time of the T-Rex until now, through asteroid strikes, ice ages, and cataclysmic sea level changes, 99% of all species were wiped out. But the crocodile is still here. It didn't survive purely on luck, and it didn't survive just because of its size. It survived on evolution. Nature spent hundreds of millions of years packing it with every single survival hack imaginable. So the next time you see a croc laying by the water looking like a stupid rotting log, don't judge it. It just doesn't need to try hard, because it is, without a doubt, the most perfect survival machine on the planet.